escape, and Forel often saw butterflies, gnats, flies, and so on, surprised and killed by the ants. Their force is in mutual support and mutual confidence. And if the ant, apart from the still higher developed termites, stands at the very top of the whole class of insects for its intellectual capacities, if its courage is only equalled by the most courageous vertebrates, and if its brain, to use Darwin's words, is one of the most marvelous atoms of matter in the world, perhaps more so than the brain of man, is it not due to the fact that mutual aid has entirely taken the place of mutual struggle in the communities of ants? The same is true as regards the bees. These small insects, which so easily might become the prey of so many birds, and whose honey has so many admirers in all classes of animals, from the beetle to the bee, also have none of the protective features derived from mimicry or otherwise, without which an isolatedly living insect hardly could escape wholesale destruction, and yet, owing to the mutual aid they practice, they obtain the wide extension which we know and the intelligence we admire. By working in common, they multiply their individual forces. By resorting to a temporary division of labor combined with the capacity of each bee to perform every kind of work when required, they attain such a degree of well-being and safety as no isolated animal can ever expect to achieve, however strong or well-armed it may be. In their combinations they are often more successful than man, when he neglects to take advantage of a well-planned mutual assistance. Thus, when a new swarm of bees is going to leave the hive in search of a new abode, a number of bees will make a preliminary exploration of the neighborhood, and if they discover a convenient dwelling place, say an old basket or anything of the kind, they will take possession of it, clean it, and guard it, sometimes for a whole week, till the swarm comes to settle therein. But how many human settlers will perish in new countries simply for not having understood the necessity of combining their efforts? By combining their individual intelligences, they succeed in coping with adverse circumstances, even quite unforeseen and unusual, like those bees of the Paris exhibition, which fastened with their resinous propolis the shutter to a glass plate fitted in the wall of their hive. Besides, they display none of the sanguinary proclivities and love of useless fighting with which many writers so readily endow animals. The sentries which guard the entrance to the hive pitilessly put to death the robbing bees which attempt entering the hive, but those stranger bees which come to the hive by mistake are left unmolested, especially if they come laden with pollen or are young individuals which can easily go astray. There is no more warfare than is strictly required. The sociability of the bees is the more instructive as predatory instincts and laziness continue to exist among the bees as well, and reappear each time that their growth is favoured by some circumstances. It is well known that there always are a number of bees which prefer a life of robbery to the laborious life of a worker, and that both periods of scarcity and periods of an unusually rich supply of food lead to an increase of the robbing class. When our crops are in and there remains but little to gather in our meadows and fields, robbing bees become of more frequent occurrence, while on the other side, about the sugar plantations of the West Indies and the sugar refineries of Europe, robbery, laziness, and very often drunkenness become quite usual with the bees. We thus see that antisocial instincts continue to exist amidst the bees as well, but natural selection continually must eliminate them, because in the long run the practice of solidarity proves much more advantageous to the species than the development of individuals endowed with predatory inclinations. The cunningest and the shrewdest are eliminated in favour of those who understand the advantages of sociable life and mutual support. Certainly neither the ants, nor the bees, nor even the termites have risen to the conception of a higher solidarity embodying the whole of the species. In that respect, they evidently have not attained a degree of development which we do not find even among our political, scientific, and religious leaders. Their social instincts hardly extend beyond the limits of the hive or the nest. However, colonies of no less than 200 nests, belonging to two different species (Formica exsecta and F. praesyllabris), have been described by Forel on Mount Tendre and Mount Saleve, and Forel maintains that each member of these colonies recognizes every other member of the colony, and that they all take part in common defense. while in Pennsylvania Mr. McCook saw a whole nation of from 1,600 to 1,700 nests of the mound-making ant, all living in perfect intelligence, and Mr. Bates has described the hillocks of the termites covering large surfaces in the campus, some of the nests being the refuge of 2 or 3 different species, and most of them being connected by vaulted galleries or arcades. H. W. Bates, The Naturalist on the River Amazons, Second, 59 sec. Some step towards the amalgamation of larger divisions of the species for purposes of mutual protection are thus met with even among the invertebrate animals. Going now over to higher animals, we find far more instances of undoubtedly conscious mutual help for all possible purposes, though we must recognize at once that our knowledge even of the life of higher animals still remains very imperfect. A large number of facts have been accumulated by first-rate observers, but there are whole divisions of the animal kingdom of which we know almost nothing. Trustworthy information as regards fishes is extremely scarce, partly owing to the difficulties of observation, and partly because no proper attention has yet been paid to the subject. As to the mammalia, Kessler already remarked how little we know about their manners of life. Many of them are nocturnal in their habits, others conceal themselves underground, and those ruminants whose social life and migrations offer the greatest interest do not let men approach their herds. It is chiefly upon birds that we have the widest range of information, and yet the social life of very many species remains but imperfectly known. Still, we need not complain about the lack of well ascertained facts, as will be seen from the following. I need not dwell upon the associations of male and female for rearing their offspring, for providing it with food during their first steps in life, or for hunting in common, though it may be mentioned by the way that such associations are the rule even with the least sociable carnivores and rapacious birds, and that they derive a special interest from being the field upon which tenderer feelings develop even amidst otherwise most cruel animals. It may also be added that the rarity of associations larger than that of a family among the carnivores and the birds of prey, though mostly being the result of their very modes of feeding, can also be explained to some extent as a consequence of the change produced in the animal world by the rapid increase of mankind. At any rate, it is worthy of note that there are species living a quite isolated life in densely inhabited regions, while the same species, or the nearest congeners, are gregarious in uninhabited countries. Wolves, foxes, and several birds of prey may be quoted as instances in point. However, associations which do not extend beyond the family bonds are of relatively small importance in our case, the more so as we know numbers of associations for more general purposes such as hunting, mutual protection, and even simple enjoyment of life. Audubon already mentioned that eagles occasionally associate for hunting, and his description of the 2 bald eagles, male and female, hunting on the Mississippi is well known for its graphic powers. But one of the most conclusive observations of the kind belongs to Syevertsoff. While studying the fauna of the Russian steppes, he once saw an eagle belonging to an altogether gregarious species (the white-tailed eagle Hyactus albicilla), rising high in the air for half an hour. It was describing its wide circles in silence, when at once its piercing voice was heard. Its cry was soon answered by another eagle which approached it, and was followed by a third, a fourth, and so on, till 9 or 10 eagles came together and soon disappeared. In the afternoon, Syevertsoff went to the place whereto he saw the eagles flying, concealed by one of the undulations of the steppe. He approached them and discovered that they had gathered around the corpse of a horse. The old ones, which as a rule begin the meal first, such are their rules of propriety, already were sitting upon the haystacks of the neighborhood and kept watch, while the younger ones were continuing the meal, surrounded by bands of crows. From this and like observations, Syevertsoff concluded that the white-tailed eagles combine for hunting. When they all have risen to a great height, they are enabled, if they are 10, to survey an area of at least 25 miles square, and as soon as anyone has discovered something, he warns the others. And Syevertsoff, Periodical Phenomena in the Life of Mammalia, Birds and Reptiles of Voronezh, Moscow, 1855.